And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I am talking with Manny Skevofilax. And Manny, first of all, did I say your name right?
You did. Great job,
Yes.
Michael.
Got it. Thanks. Thanks for squeezing me into your schedule and being on my podcast, Manny.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're welcome. It's going to be a fun conversation. So Manny is I like the way he phrases things. He's like, you've got a mechanic for your car. He's kind of like a mechanic for your business. He's a chief financial officer that works with business owners to help them grow revenue, reduce operating expenses, therefore increasing profits, which really, in my opinion, Manny, is the number one number I'm after is increased profits. So I can't wait to dive into this a little bit deeper and see how you can help some people. Tell us, how in the world, though, did you get to doing what you do today?
I grew up in the restaurant business. My parents immigrated from Greece. They started a small restaurant, which is what people did back in that era. And I just felt like I had a knack for it. And as I kept working and growing and learning, I went to school. And then I exited the restaurant business, Michael, and I went to work in a bank in their commercial lending training program. And I had a lot of great teachers and mentors, learned a lot of different things about how to lend money, how businesses work, how banks evaluate, your financials and your credit worthiness. And then I decided I wanted to go hang my shingle out, which I did 20 years ago. And I've been working as an outsourced chief financial officer since that time.
That's incredible. And I assume, that bank business had to really help you as you look at financial statements of businesses. And I know that's one of the things that you do is look at those. And oh my goodness, when I look at P&L statements and balance sheets, my eyes gloss over, right? Praise God, I have a great CPA and my wife is my bookkeeper who understand all of that stuff. Talk to us a little bit about how you help business owners as a chief financial officer, because a lot of small business owners don't have you. Right? We're entrepreneurs and we are trying to figure it out, or we go to maybe our CPA and that's not really their job. So talk to us about how you help business owners really squeeze more profits out of their business because of how you help them. What just unpack that.
Sure. So CPAs are a very valuable part of the team.
Oh, yeah.
They're just analyzing the tax code is a full-time job. We don't do that. We focus on something called financial statement analysis. So that's what we have been taught in school and, in the field of banking. A financial statement consists of the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. It's the same thing for every company, Michael, but it tells a different story for everybody. So when you get in there, you would analyze it together with that business owner, and it would show you how you got to a certain number on that P&L, on that balance sheet. And you could work backwards and say, Michael, what processes, what things did you do in here that ended up, with this number here? So that would be the first thing. It's like a map. The second thing would be to have you teach me, the ins and outs of your business model. And, what is market, what works, what doesn't work. And I would share with you best practices, ideas, recommendations. Hey, could you do this instead of that? You're trying to overhaul these transmissions when you really should be doing, wheel balancing and tires at the door. It's a better margin. And those types of discussions lead to having, let's call it better revenue. So a more profitable revenue stream, and making sure that you are engaged in those right kinds of activities to generate that top line.
Yeah, and that's good. And it's generating the right top line that has a better margin so that your bottom line goes up. And it's also learning how those income statements, balance sheets, cash flow, all of that play together to realize a lot of business owners are losing money between the top line and the bottom line. There's money to be had there many times, let alone trying to focus on higher margin products or sales. Do you find that there's money to be found many times in the middle?
Yes, it's a great point you make, Michael. the business owners in there wearing all of these hats every day, they're just focused on grinding to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And they don't have time in some cases to review this kind of stuff in detail. When you get home, you're tired. You want to spend time with your family and, rest.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is money in there. You just have to stop, because most of these business owners don't stop
Right.
for, an hour a month to review it
Right.
and find the hidden gold that's potentially lurking in there.
Right. Well, not only do I not stop to do it, if I did stop to do it, Manny, I wouldn't know where to look. I mean, it's
Okay.
all, this is funny. It's all Greek to me. Manny's got a Greek background. I look at financial statements and stuff, and I'm like, I really don't know what I'm looking at. That's why I need my
Mhm.
wife and my CPA and my son who
Sure.
helps me run the business to make sense of these numbers.
Mhm.
And to realize, I look at an income statement sometimes, I'm like, oh, look at that net profit. And my wife's like, yeah, but that doesn't reflect the distributions we took over on the balance sheet. I'm like, well, why not? So
Right.
I could take the time, but without
Mhm.
somebody like you guiding, directing, showing, say, here are the numbers that are really important. Here's how we get to that number.
Mhm.
And oh, by the way, what are you trying to get to and why?
Yes,
Those are
exactly.
questions that an outside perspective, Manny, that you would bring to a table is just so valuable to a business owner. So unpack
Mhm.
that about how do you like lock arms with your clients,
Mhm.
so you're not just a service, you're more integrated, right?
Yeah. They'll quickly see that I treat every business like it's my business. I take a vested interest,
Mm-hmm.
and, I'm there to help you. Some business owners are like, hey, I've been doing this for 20 years. Who are you?
Yeah.
I don't need
Yeah.
any help. So once you get a chance to sit down and actually go through a financial and explain that, look, Michael, you don't need to learn this. This is what
Right.
I went and learned. This is what my teachers and mentors taught me.
Yeah.
I'm here to quickly pinpoint this stuff for you and give you the tidbits that you need to be focused on. You don't need to worry about everything. Like the great example you gave about your wife saying, yeah, you said the P&L looks good. She's like, hey, it didn't take into consideration the distributions because they don't appear on the P&L.
Right. I
But
don't
you
know
don't need
why.
to be worried about that. You need to be worried about generating that great mix of revenue,
Yeah.
watching those expenses that make sense. And as you mentioned, generating a good, solid bottom line of profit.
Yeah, very much so. And that's something that Manny can really help business owners understand, because we've had years where we would have lower gross sales and higher net profit.
Mhm.
And we've had years of just the flip. And
Mhm.
it's like, wait a minute. I'm after net profit at the end of the day. I need some gross sales, but if I'm not managing the dollars in between and
Mhm.
understanding margins and all of those things that are so impactful, I'm losing money. I'm not growing my
Yeah.
business as well as I should be. And that's where somebody like Manny can come in and
Mhm.
with keen X-ray vision because of his experience to go,
Mhm.
have you looked at this? So talk a little bit about how that functions and how you help business owners kind of turn that corner to go, oh, I can
Mhm.
grow my business. I can actually grow my revenue and net profit without spending more money on advertising and things many times because of how I manage
Mhm.
things. Do you find that?
Yeah, it's very well said and very refreshing to hear.
Okay.
One of the first things I'll ask a potential client is, which one would you rather be? Would you rather be, a $5 million a year, gross revenue company netting $2 million, or a $10 million a year company netting $1 million?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be surprised how many people want to be the $10 million company.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So then you got to, gently share with them, hey, it really doesn't make sense. At the end of the day, it's not how much money you make, but it's how much money you keep.
That's
How much
right.
money is going to, go home to your family, for example. How much will be available to take care of your employees, pay bonus, have good benefits, buy machinery and equipment if you need it. That's all based on the bottom line. You don't want to be, busting your butt to get to this large sales number if the profit's not there.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And too many times all we hear as business owners is top line, top line, top line. You can be an 8-figure business. You can be a 10-figure business. And it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, but if I'm not taking it home, if I'm not having enough money to give raises to my employees, to
Mhm.
provide benefits, to buy equipment, so what? Right.
Right.
And so it's helpful to have somebody with your experience come in and
Mhm.
ask those questions from a loving perspective to come
Uh-huh.
alongside and really say, what are you trying to make happen
Mhm.
and why? And okay, let 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 me help you, because when you start looking at numbers, and I know you've got some kind of a process that you take people through. I want you to talk a
Mhm.
little bit about that to
Sure.
really help them see differently, understand differently, and realize, yeah, I don't have to go get a degree in accounting to figure this thing out.
Right.
So unpack a little bit about how you go about working with people.
Yeah. We would have a meeting similar to this. We'd have a Zoom meeting, which is, proven to be very valuable. We would take a look at the financial statement together, and then we would talk. And I
Mhm.
would want to try to figure out, okay, you've owned this business 20 years or 10 or two. How did you start? What are some of the actions that you took to get here today? And then I would ask you, has this business met your expectations, exceeded your expectations, or is it below? And from that, we would start diving in a little bit to understand, okay, great. You did 2 million in revenue. What did it consist of? Because after further analysis, because you as the business owner, you've always done it that way,
Right.
perhaps I might show you that, you might need to not be doing this one particular, stop selling that because
Right.
you're just breaking even on it. If I can show you the economics of what it truly costs you,
Right.
you might be doing something that you're not making money on.
Yeah.
And that's when they really start to get engaged.
Yeah. That's really good. And the other aspect, and I don't know if you do this, is helping business owners understand in what areas you can actually increase your prices, because you might be selling something and you've always sold it in a certain way. It's like, you could actually raise your prices 20%, which scares the daylights out of most business owners.
Yes.
But if you lose 20% of your clients at a higher margin, you're probably making
Mhm.
more money with fewer, and it makes life a lot easier. So,
Yes.
but that's hard to do as a business owner. We need somebody
Mhm.
like you from the outside. And so you've seen
That's a,
people.
it's a great point. So I had a client, and his business was spending six figures in yellow page ads.
Oh my.
So when I met him, I said, I said, times have changed. I said, if I were to go over to my grandmom's house and she needed your particular service, I would not go asking her where her yellow pages were. I would whip my phone out and Google or search for your service. And he looked at me incredulously. And I was like, you can turn around and for like 10% of the money you're spending, you can
Yeah.
just make sure your website is optimized and maybe invest that in some kind of ad campaign.
Yeah.
He thought I was nuts. He was about ready to boot me out of there.
Hmm.
And he struggled. It took him a good 6, 8 months to finally start saying, you know what, I'm going to spend 90 grand this year instead of 100. See what
That's
happens. Because he was
yeah.
scared.
See what? Yeah, he was scared because it's
Mhm.
change, and so many times when change is required, we need somebody like Manny to walk with us through it. But many times we don't even know it unless we're looking at the numbers.
Yeah.
And we hear as entrepreneurs all the time, you need to run your business by the numbers. You got to have your dashboard. You got to have your KPIs. And as I talk with most entrepreneurs, they're like, poke me in the
Yeah.
eye. That's not our shtick.
Yeah.
And we're not big enough many times. We don't have a CFO who's qualified
Mhm.
to actually help us. And that's why you, Manny, an outsourced chief financial officer in
Mhm.
around that's what you do. You come in, work with business owners to help them get to where they are. And I would assume at some point in time, it might be that you set them up enough to say, okay, you're okay. You can run this by yourself. Maybe we need to check in a few times a year, but is that how it works, or how does it
Yeah. Um, so I do things very simply. I don't want to beat you over the head with KPIs and all this stuff. I do it
work?
very simply so people can understand because not everybody's a finance major.
Yeah.
Uh, and when I first started the business, Michael, I only expected an engagement to last 2 or 3 months
Okay.
and, you know, ended up lasting for years.
Yeah.
So once you get in there, and the cool thing about what I do is that the cash shows up in your bank account.
Yeah.
And that's very difficult to say that you didn't help me.
Right.
And they don't want you to leave. They want you to stay because they value your opinion and they trust you.
Yeah.
You showed them the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, that's the blessing that I've had, is I've been able to maintain long relationships.
That's awesome. And cash in the bank is a good thing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
more money in the pocket is a good thing, because then it gives you the freedom to help explore your business and do more things to grow revenue as you decrease expenses, increase profits, live the life you want, go to Greece, enjoy life, whatever
Right.
it is. That's what Manny does, and he can help you. So Manny, how do people get a hold of you if they're intrigued, they're interested, they want to know a little bit more about you and your service?
Sure.
Where would they go?
They could go to my website, which is www.portalcfo.com,
Okay.
portalcfo.com. It has, you know, a whole host of information and, you know, a lot of blogs that I've written about managing the challenges of growing your business profitably.
Excellent. Portalcfo.com. We're going to grab that. We're going to put that in the show notes as well. So if you're driving right now or exercising, you can go to the show notes. You can find that. Reach out to Manny at portalcfo.com and just find out what he does. See if he can help you. Because if you're an entrepreneur, small business owner, solopreneur, there are definitely ways that he can help you figure out those statements that are so valuable to understand and help you really grow your business and enjoy the life that we're all after anyway. So, Manny, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing what you do and helping business owners. I appreciate that.
Michael, thank you for having me.